Greetings, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. Recently, I was made aware of this TikTok content creator whom really got under my skin a little. I found him through Kat, my best friend slash housemate slash person who captions my videos. And she brought him to my attention, and we kind of just went through and started getting a bit riled up and frustrated together. And I thought that I could bring that to you. I thought that would be a great time to sit down and sort of analyze these TikToks and have a conversation because, oh my God, is there so much to say. And that TikTok creator is someone named Bradley on a Budget.
I'm frugal and will do anything to save money, so welcome to an episode of Extreme Cheapskate where I'm going to show you everything I did to save money last week.
Bradley on a Budget is relatively controversial, and he has over 1 million followers. And the content that he creates, as you know, kind of implied by the name, is content about how to budget better and save your money, which, you know, sounds harmless. It actually sounds quite good. You know, we're living in a cost of living crisis. Everything is really expensive. Pay is really low. And it's always good to know more ways to budget or to spend your money better, etc. So, you know, on the surface, seems like a sort of good thing to be doing. However, the problem is how deep into this he goes. The problem is that he takes it to a level that is just not sustainable nor healthy, and he uses his really large platform to promote that. And before we can really get into these TikToks and pick this content apart, I need to tell you his backstory, get a little bit of background on him, because none of this really makes sense unless you know who he is and how we got here in the first place. So, some background. Bradley is 31, and when he was 17, he was finishing up high school and he decided to go to culinary school. And he decided to go to the most expensive, like high-end, like top culinary school that he could, because we are told that like going to the biggest, best, most prestigious universities is going to guarantee us success, or it is the best way to get us to a place that is going to bring us the most success. What they don't talk to you about, though, is the cost and the student loan payment, like the debt and the interest and how you have to pay for it. And so when he was 17, he signed up to go to this incredible culinary school, and he ended up with a student loan of $140,000, which, you know, wow. You know, that's a lot of money to pay to go to school and to get an education. And, you know, he wasn't informed about like interest and how a student loan actually worked and how much it would accumulate to be and the fact that it will keep growing, etc., etc. And obviously he went into it, you know, hearing a lower number because he didn't know that that number would get higher with time. And then thought that it would be fine because he thought, you know, upon leaving, he was going to be successful and get a job and he'd be able to pay it back. Easy peasy. He instead found himself in a job that was paying $12 to $14 an hour, and his student loan was costing him $900 a month, which is not very sustainable at all. He was living in a constant state of stress and anxiety during this time, and he was really struggling to keep afloat because, you know, $12 to $14 an hour plus a $900 student loan debt plus all of the other life expenses, that's a lot to be taking on, especially when you are so young. And when he was in his mid-20s, it started really impacting him and his mental health to the point where he was suicidal and even ended up in hospital due to an attempt on his life, which is so devastating and upsetting and incredibly unfair. Like, I completely agree that we lack so much education and so many resources around finances and around going into these situations where you borrow money and like to pay for an education, because all we are told is that it's something that you have to do and that you want to get into the best school and that is going to help your future. And no one really gives solid advice. And I think that we need to have a better system around educating people around finances and money and borrowing and loans, etc., etc. And on top of that, obviously, I don't think education should be as unaffordable as it is. The US in particular is absolutely astronomical. Like, that is an insane amount of money to be owing. I know in a lot of Europe, university is only a few €100, which is, you know, more like how it should be. There's no need for education to cost that much. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous. And I think if something is going to cost that much money, we should be able to be given information about which to choose, how to make those decisions, etc. Because so many of these people who are going into making these decisions are so young, and it is so easy for them to be convinced into making these choices because they have been told that they should, and they don't really have all the full information nor the certainty of a future to be qualified to be making that decision. I absolutely think that these things need to change, and I do think that a conversation should be had here and more education and awareness should be given into these sort of major financial life-changing decisions. After this event took place, after, you know, he was at like the lowest of the lows, he was really struggling to support himself, obviously, and so he started to make content on OnlyFans, which started being a small source of extra revenue for him, and it's really upsetting circumstances to turn to something like that, and I really wish that, you know, people didn't have to resort to sex work in order to make a living. It's just like really upsetting in general. Like, there's no shame in it, but like, you shouldn't feel forced into doing something like that. But yeah, anyway, he started doing that to earn a little bit more money, and then he started picking up a lot of other odd jobs here and there. He started making content on social media. He started making more decisions to save himself money, like not going out to eat and like saving on electricity bills, etc. Like, he started making more and more decisions to save money, and he started doing more and more things to earn money. And over time, it started to accumulate. He started to get more and more money through these different revenue streams, especially through his social media, to the point where last year he earned over $100,000 in the year, and he is earning now upwards of $15,000 every single month. He's actually had a few months where he has earned over $20,000 in the month, and he currently has $250,000 in a savings account. And with the way his income is going so far this year, he is well on the way to earning over $200K this year. So what is the problem? You know, clearly this is working, the budgeting and the side hustles and everything that worked for him. He's in now a very good financial position. So why shouldn't he be telling other people how he got here and what to do? There are a lot of problems with his content and what he is doing, and they all revolve around a larger issue of his health, both mental and physical, and the way that he is very much overlooking that and still encouraging this. There's just so much that we need to discuss about all of this, and I think the best way to do that is by picking apart some of his TikToks. So that is what we are going to be doing now. Sorry for the incredibly long intro. I just thought that it was all very important information that you need to know going into this. So yeah, let's have a look at some of his TikToks. And also, while I have your attention, please, if you do enjoy this video, do not forget to hit subscribe. My channel was recently targeted by like a mass audience of men who decided to just start reporting all of my videos and my channel, and it's had a massive impact on how YouTube is pushing my videos and who is being shown my videos. So I could really appreciate some help fighting through that and just negating the negative impact that all these men had on my channel. So if you do hit subscribe, if you enjoy this video, leave a like, leave a comment about your thoughts on budgeting, etc., whatever. I do greatly appreciate that. And now let's get into the TikToks. I think the best way to start off is by showing you what he does to earn his $15,000, $20,000 every single month, because That's important to know.
I'm a workaholic and will do just about anything to make money, so welcome to my monthly income video where I'll show you the 10 income streams I have and how much I made from each one. My biggest income stream in February was social media. I made $11,507. I'm on a certain website that ends in fans in between the subscriptions and custom video requests. I made $4,621. My next biggest income stream is my part-time job as a financial coach. I make $1,460 a month. Next, I had 2 dog sitting gigs in February, and between the pay and the tips, I made $965. I have a CD and I earned $907 off of interest. I'm also a crisis counselor on a hotline, and I took 7 shifts in February and I made $528 from that. I have an affiliate link with a brand partnership that I've worked with for almost a year now, and I made $315. I'm also a dancer at a nightclub, and I only worked 1 night in February and I made $172. I'm also a house cleaner for someone that I used to work with, and I made $65 from that. Next, and my least favorite side hustle is snow shoveling. I absolutely hate the cold and I hate the snow, and yeah, I don't run the heat in my apartment, and it took about an hour and a half and I made $50. I recycle bottles and cans because here in Connecticut we get 10 cents per item, but anyways, I made $26 from doing that. Lastly, and weirdly enough, the New York Post wrote an article about me and I got 15 pounds from that. All of that combined brought my total earnings for February to $20,635.
This is so astounding to me, you know, because like, why? Why are you doing all of this to yourself? This is surely like pushing you to the absolute brink of burnout. You have no time for yourself or to do literally anything else. Like, especially when it comes to, I know it's like content creating for only like a couple hours a day, but I've talked about this a lot recently. Content creating is not just the time that you dedicate to actually making the content. It's kind of always on your brain. I have had to try so hard to train myself out of it, because like you will be doing anything and you'll go, this could make good content. Or you do something and you'll like constantly be thinking about it, and you plan your life around the content that you need to create. Like even all the other jobs and things he's doing, he's obviously having to like set up his cameras, he's having to film it. Like content creating takes up so much more than the just like dedicated time you have to look at content creating. And then obviously on top of that, he's doing like his office job, dog sitting, cleaning, snow plowing. He said at the end there, he goes dumpster diving to recycle bottles in order to earn a little bit of extra money. And like, I just don't understand why. Like, why? You're already earning $11,000 just off of your social media. Like, you don't even need to do anything else. $11,000 is absolutely sufficient to be able to live off of comfortably. And then if you add on top of it the $4,000 from OnlyFans, which is connected to the social media thing, you know, like that's $15,000. You really don't need to do any of the other stuff. You are living so comfortably just off of that, especially because his rent is only $750 a month. Like, you are living so comfortably just from that. I don't understand why you feel the need to do all of the rest of it. Like, okay, maybe dog sitting. Sure, you can go dog sitting, because who doesn't want to spend time with the dog? You know, like if you want me to come stay in your house and just like hang out with the dog, I will do it. If I was making $15,000 a month though, I'd probably offer to do it for free. Like, I will look after your dog for free. I'm actually benefiting from this greatly because I would love to sit here and hang out with the dog all the time. Thank you. It gets worse though the further you go, because he gets to the snow plowing and he's like, I hate this job. I hate doing it. I hate the cold, but you know, I'll do it for $50. Bro, you were earning like thousands of dollars already. You do not need that extra $50. That extra $50 is nothing in the scheme of things. Like, you have $15,000 just from social media. All up, the rest of your jobs is like $19,000, more than $19,000. It's $20,000 is all up the rest of your jobs. And you're still doing something that you hate for $50. You're still going like dumpster diving to get what? Maybe $100 at a maximum. You don't need to be doing that. You do not need to be dedicating all of your time to this. You do not need to be making everything about trying to earn as much money as you can. It is not healthy to spend your entire life and all of your time trying to scrounge up as many little coins as possible. It's fine. Please take a minute to just like look after yourself and like be a person. And like I said with like the dog sitting thing, right? It's like if you were already earning like $20,000, if you're even earning half of that, honestly, let's be so for real. If you're already earning $20,000, why do you then need to like charge $60 to clean your friend's house? You know, maybe you want to help them out. Maybe you're doing like a good thing and you just want to help them out with their moving and whatever. So you're doing it for them and they're paying you $60. But like, again, me personally, if I had $20,000 a month, unless my friend is like a millionaire, I would just go help them for free. If they need help cleaning and moving and I have, you know, the time, I would probably do that out of the goodness of my own heart because I don't need that extra $65. But I know my friend like needs a hand and maybe they could do with that $65 more than I could. And this is one of the things that bothers me so much about him. It's just how selfish he is with his money and the way that he talks about his money and his income. He talks about having money and saving money and keeping money and not ever spending it because like, why would you give your hard-earned money to other people? Why are you taking money home and then just handing it out to others? He has this whole thing where he talks about how it makes no sense to spend your money. He's like, you've worked hard and you've earned your money. So like, why are you just going out and spending it? And it's like, bro, what? What? Here's a video that he has that's just called Small Purchases Matter. And there is so much to say about this one. So
put the credit card down. But Bradley, it's just a coffee, but it's just a pair of shoes. It's only a subscription. Stop it! It's always the small purchases that you think are harmless can really add up by the end of the month. When you're not tracking your spending and you have no idea how much money is going into each category every month, you no longer own your money owns you. Well, Brad, then what's the point of working if I can't spend the money that I work hard for? Shut up! Exactly. What's the point of working if you are working for money that is then coming out of your pocket to go to everyone else but yourself? I have been yelling at you about this for a year now. What don't you get? All of your money is going out to eat, buying shit you don't need. You probably spend so much money on subscriptions that you don't even use anymore. Wake up! This is why it is so important to be in control of your money and to track your spending.
This confuses me so much. Firstly, stop yelling at me. Okay, whoa, calm down. Yelling at me is not going to make me understand you. Like, I hear you perfectly clear. What you're saying just like doesn't make any sense. Because like you haven't actually answered the question here. What good is money if I don't spend it? You're like, exactly. What good is it if you spend it? That doesn't answer the question. You are just asking my question straight back at me. And I still don't know what your answer is because money is fake, especially now. It's in a bank account. You just look at a screen and it says a number. That's not real. The thing that is real is what you get in exchange for the money. My phone, this is real. I like handed money over and I got the phone. This is a real thing. Money's fake. It exists as a measure of like value, sure. And it's like, this is worth so much of this. Yeah, okay. But the money itself is not real. Literally, its only purpose, its singular purpose is for me to spend it. It's for me to pay for my rent, my water, my electricity, my food, my experiences, my items, my clothes. Like, that is literally the only thing money is for. I love being like, you come home and then you spend all your money, so what do you have to show for it? You earn all this money, so what do you have to show for it? Look around you, bro. I have all of this to show for it. I have a nice place to live. I have things that I enjoy. I have food in my fridge. I have memories. I have experiences. I have memories and life experience and enjoying time with my friends. I get to try new things. I have more time so I can sit and I can read my book. I can watch my favorite movies. That all means something. Even if it's only temporary joy, all of that means something. That's what I have to show for all my hard work. All of that. That's what I have. Like, sure, having money in the bank is helpful. Having an emergency savings account is helpful because, unfortunately we do need money in order to survive and buy the things that we do. Sure, absolutely. If at all possible, I think it is good to have a couple months worth of living expenses saved up in an account. That is something that he says you should have, like 2 or 3 months worth of living expenses in a bank account. I think that if that is something you were able to do, you absolutely should do that. And then once you have that saving, you don't need to add any more to that. You don't need any more savings. Like, that is kind of a cap. You can add more savings. You don't really need more savings. You know, you can afford to spend your money. You have money for a rainy day now. I also recognize in general, that's not a very practical thing for a lot of people. A lot of people cannot afford to put that much money away from savings, even if they are living frugally. Putting away enough money for like 3 months worth of living expenses is a very difficult task for a lot of people to achieve, no matter how frugally they are living their lives. I think that people deserve to treat themselves. I think that people deserve to have experiences. They are allowed to buy things that bring them joy, even if that is temporary, because that is literally the entire point of life. The point of life is to have experiences and to enjoy things and to just live your life and not to be a slave to capitalism. Yes, you don't want to be extremely stressed out and drowning in debt, but there is a middle ground here. Like, you can be buying yourself things and enjoying things and also not be drowning in debt. And here's the thing, right? Is he sits here and he's like, you shouldn't be giving your money to big corporations. You shouldn't be just passing your money out to everyone else. Like, you should keep your money for you. That's your money. That's your hard-earned money. No one else should have it.
You have probably given Amazon, Starbucks, thousands of dollars this year. Thousands!
Big corporations. Don't give your money to them. If you can avoid it, don't give your money to big corporations, because you're right, they don't deserve your money. They're taking your money, they're pocketing almost all of it, and then they're paying their workers fuck all. They don't deserve your money. And if you can avoid giving them your money, by all means, absolutely go for it. You are in a very privileged position. You have $250,000 in your savings account right now. You don't have to give your money to big corporations. You can go to independent coffee shops. You can go to independent restaurants. You can go to small businesses. You can support local businesses. You can go and get your clothes custom made for you. Like, you can afford to put your money in places where it is actually going to benefit people. You say, don't go out to eat because it's stupid and it's a waste of money and you're just giving your money away to people who don't need it. You live in the US where tipping is incredibly important, right? Like, hospitality workers live off of tips, and you know this because you were a hospitality worker. How much better would your life have been if someone came in and tipped you like $100 on the regular basis? It probably would have helped you out a lot, right? So why don't you go do that? You could improve other people's lives. You could give that money to other people who deserve it and who are being taken advantage of, like you were. There are so many other young people who have student debts that they cannot afford to pay off, and they are never going to be in a position like you where they have as much money as you do. You could be going into these independent restaurants and cafes and tipping your waiter a huge amount. You could be going and buying things at places to support their businesses and keep them up and running, because they are doing so much work. They deserve to have a good income. They aren't in a position where they are getting it like you are. You have so much and you could be doing so much with it, but instead you are deciding to sit on it. You are instead hoarding your wealth and doing absolutely nothing with it. It's not even benefiting you because you're not using it for anything. You're not buying anything. You're not spending it on anything. You're not doing anything with it. You aren't benefiting anyone else, nor are you benefiting yourself.
Oh, but how's that emergency fund looking? Oh, you don't have one because you're an idiot.
I don't think we should be calling people idiots for not having an emergency fund. Again, some people just literally cannot afford to have an emergency fund. Did you have an emergency fund when you were drowning in debt? I highly doubt it. And you can sit here and say it's because you were uneducated and you didn't know and you wish that you had one. It doesn't mean that you would have had the capability to do it. A lot of people are not earning enough money to be able to have an emergency fund. They're not idiots. They just don't have enough. And they wish that they did, but they don't. They're living paycheck to paycheck for a fucking reason.
Oh, but we don't care about that. We're just living for today. We're blowing through our money. And then you are going to be the same person who wants to cry wolf when suddenly you want to buy a house. Suddenly an emergency pops up and you have no money that you worked hard for all year. Wake up! God forbid you say no to yourself once in a while. Oh, poor me. Shut up! I have a coworker who loves coffee. Sometimes she'll have more than one a day. And one day she decided, I'm going to track my spending to see how much I spend on coffee every month. You know, she realized she spends more than $300 a month on coffee. $300! Stupid drink!
This is such a millennials can't buy a house because avocado toast type argument. Like, that's not how this works, right? Okay, let's break this down for a second, okay? Like, sure, $300 a month is pretty significant. Sounds like a lot of money. $300 can get you a lot of stuff. $300 extra can be so helpful, for sure. Let's put it in terms of like you saying we should be saving up for like emergencies and houses and stuff. If we're putting this in terms of buying a house, right? Let's say she stops buying coffee and instead she puts her money for coffee in an account every day to save that. She is now saving $300 every single month. By the end of her first year, she is going to have $3,600 saved. Okay, that's a pretty good savings pot. But now let's look at the price of houses. In London, where I live, the average house costs £680,000, right? That is the average price of a house here. And a down payment has to be at least 10%. So that is at least £68,000. Now I'm going to change your 3,600 into pounds just for currency convenience sake here. So if I was to save £300 every single month and £3,600 a year, it would still take me 20 years just to pay for a down payment. Not even to buy the house, just for a down payment would take me 20 years to save up for. Why would I do that? You know, is it worth it? Like, why would I sacrifice something that makes me happy and brings me joy and that I can enjoy right now for the possibility that maybe making that sacrifice will mean I can buy a house in 2 fucking decades? People are not unable to afford houses because they are drinking coffee every day or buying avocado toast. People are buying coffee every day and avocado toast and whatever because we can't afford houses. It's so hard to save up for something that doesn't feel like a possible goal. Like, if it takes that long to save up for a down payment for you to then be on like a lifelong mortgage, why would anyone bother? And then even if we're not going for the buy a house thing, right? Even if we're doing your emergency fund thing where it's like you need to have like 3 months worth of living costs saved up and in an account, right? The average cost of living in London for an individual person every single month is between £2,500 and £3,000. That's what I could find when I did my Google search. And we just figured out that in the year, by not buying coffee, she would save £3,600. So that would mean in order to have 3 months worth of living expenses, it would take about 2.5 years. Like, it's not that easy to do. It's not something that you can just have and you can do. Like, it makes so much sense that people are so unmotivated to do it just because, like, it just doesn't seem worth it because of how fucking expensive it is. $300 a month is still a pretty good savings to have, but you have to understand why people aren't motivated to do that. So now that we know how he earns his money and how he feels about spending money, let's have a look at how he saves his money. How does he personally spend his money?
I'm frugal and will do anything to save money, so welcome to another episode of Extreme Cheapskates, and I'll show you everything I did to save money last week. I sometimes forget to mop my floors, but I have this ever since I moved in. However, I always reuse the cleaning pad. Next, I'll try to charge my stuff anywhere. Literally charge battery packs in my shaver at work. I don't run the heat in my apartment to keep the electric bill low. Sometimes I'll crack my door open to let the heat in from the hallway. Always make sure that I clean my dishes at work. If I could use someone else's hot water and soap to save a little money, I'll do it. I'll just keep the paper towel. I don't throw it out. Again, in my brain, this makes so much sense. I don't know why you would throw a perfectly clean paper towel just because it's a little damp. I was out with friends and I saw this toilet paper just chilling in the bathroom and said, "You're coming home with me." I reuse tissues. Always bring Tupperware to work because you never know when there's going to be a meeting with snacks. Sometimes I'll just wash my hair in the sink instead of a full-blown shower, especially because my apartment is so cold because I don't run the heat. Instead of paying for a car wash, I knew I was going to go over to my parents' house and I honestly ended up just washing the car at their house.
So he reuses tissues, which I personally find so gross. Like, I know handkerchiefs have been a thing for forever, but I also find those really gross. Like, it seems so unhygienic to just have like something with like your snot and things all in it and just like keeping that in your pocket or around the house. He also takes paper towels home and reuses paper towels and has a paper towel stash growing. He steals toilet paper to keep in a drawer. He charges things in public places. He takes food home from like lunches at meetings at work and he has that for dinner. He takes his car to his parents' house to wash it so he can use their water instead of his own. And all of these things are either unhygienic or they are costing other people money. Like, you have enough, like more than enough, to get all of these things yourself and to do all of these things in a better way. And yet you are choosing to put other people out instead. Like, you are taking other people's like electricity and their water, etc. And although sure, like it's a small amount of money, but it is enough to matter to you. So I don't understand why you are just like, I'll just take it from someone else instead. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so unthoughtful. It's just a selfish like thought process of like knowing that that amount of money means something to him and makes such a massive difference to him, but then being okay with putting someone else out for it, like his parents, who likely earn less money than he does. But yeah, it's okay to take their water, but it's too much for him to take his own. Like, I know they say that like they don't mind, but it's sort of the thought that's there. You know what I mean? Like, why is it then okay to take theirs if it's not okay for you to use yours, you know? He also did a bit of like a wardrobe tour, and you can see that he has shoes that all have holes in the bottom of them. He's got so many clothes that have big holes in them or are tearing. He has a pair of jeans that is ripped like directly down the ass. His towel is covered in big holes. His toothbrush is worn to the fucking edge, like it's flat and the bristles aren't bristling anymore. He sleeps on a bed that came with his flat, which is like a college dorm room bed. And like, he says that all of this is fine and he doesn't need anything else, that everything else is just a waste of money because all of this works perfectly. And that's not even true. Firstly, this doesn't all work perfectly. And secondly, not only does it not work perfectly, it's actually putting your health at risk. Like, if you are using a toothbrush that is so far past being done, it's covered in bacteria and you are just brushing bacteria into your mouth, and also the bristles aren't working properly. So you're not brushing your teeth properly, and also you're putting bacteria in your mouth, which could lead you to needing to spend thousands of dollars on dental work later on. Then walking around with all of your shoes having big holes in them, you are putting yourself in danger because, you know, there are sharp things on the ground. You could stand on a rusty nail and get tetanus. You could like injure your foot and get an infection. And like, I understand some people truly cannot afford new shoes, and that's really upsetting. And some people do not have a choice but to walk around with shoes with holes in them, and like, that's terrible. And they know that that's not good and they would love to buy new shoes. But this man can very easily afford shoes that do not have holes in them. He can afford shoes that are safe and that are secure, which he really needs considering he doesn't have health insurance. He lives in the US. We all know how much medical costs in the US, right? He doesn't have health insurance. He's saying that he's saving for an emergency, but even his $250,000 in the bank is not going to be enough to cover a medical emergency. Like, bro, you need to get on some health insurance immediately. He says that he's just in the habit of it now.
I never said health insurance is not important. What I said was, when I lost my health insurance when I was 26 years old and I had one job making $16 an hour, at that time in my life, it made more sense to me to opt out of health insurance and put that money in my own pocket because I was desperate for it. The reason why I do not have health insurance today is two reasons. For one, I have honestly just gotten used to not having it. I haven't had it for 6 years. And now that I'm 32 years old, I am starting to have those conversations with myself and say, you know what? You're getting older, you may not be able to get by like this, like you were when you were younger.
And like, he just hasn't seen the point because he never gets sick. But it's like, bro, you should do that right now. You've not had health insurance for 6 years and you can afford it now. Go get some fucking health insurance. And wearing these clothes that are all tatty and torn up and ripped, etc., like, sure, they function as clothes, I guess. I am all for keeping the same clothes for years. My wardrobe, I don't really ever get rid of clothes. My wardrobe is built up of clothes from since just before I moved here up until now. I have like some of my clothes I've had since like 2017. If they still fit me, I still have them. And all of the clothes that I buy are from secondhand places. I get them on Vinted or Depop, or I go out to like an op shop, you know? Like, you can get new clothes that are cheap And also not giving your money to big corporations. They can instead go to individuals who need the money or to charity by going to like a thrift shop. I also have some clothes that I've had like custom made. I like ordered sweatpants and things years ago from this like girl who makes sweatpants and sells them. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's so cool. I will buy these off of you. All of my earrings, these are like handmade they're from Sun Puff Studios. It's a woman who lives in Manchester and just like makes all of her earrings. And I get a lot of my earrings from there because I'm giving my money to someone who is doing a craft and needs that money. And they're high quality and will last me a long time. And I can afford to do that. You can have old clothes and also buy new ones. You can throw away old clothes if they are falling apart. It's totally fine. You don't have to spend that much money on them. But like, you should definitely buy some new things. It is possible to be presentable and like healthy and also not give your money to big corporations and also be environmentally conscious. You can make sustainable choices and buy new things, because he likes to say that one of the reasons he does this and does all this budgeting and being frugal is because he is doing it for the environment. One of the biggest things he believes in and thinks is important about making all these choices that are less consumeristic is because of the environmental impact of consumerism. And he makes a video like this one. It just says, you can't take money with you. Well, you can't take this either. And it's a hoarder's house. And like, this is so disrespectful, right? Like, for one, there is a middle ground here. There is a middle ground here. It's not like, you know, the two options are not wash your hair in the sink, unplug all your electricities, never heat your house, never wash your car, never buy new clothes, anything. Like, that's that side. And then like hoarder. Those are not the two options. There is actually a middle ground here where you can just like live comfortably. You can buy necessities and, you know, the occasional thing you just want. You can be a consumer without giving in to consumerism, right? It's not the same thing. And also, being a hoarder and being overly consumeristic are also not the same thing. Being a hoarder, like, hoarders are like not mentally well. They are mentally unwell. It is stemming from like a mental health issue, and they need help. They need therapy. They need support. If you were going to be trying to make this point, please actually use an image of an actual overconsumer. Like that period of time where people had like 20 Stanley cups when the entire point was to just have like one that lasts you a long time that you never have to replace, because having one reusable thing is what you're meant to do. Or the people who have like entire cabinets that are just like 100 bottles of like lotion that's going to expire within the year that they have to throw out, but they just wanted all the options. Like, there are so many ways to show overconsumption that's not like shaming hoarders. Like, they are not the target here. Like, fuck you, maybe. That's not who we should be shaming in this instance. Overconsumerism is a problem. Yes, talk about that. Show people who spend their money poorly in the sense of making decisions that are so overly consumeristic, so unnecessary, and so terrible for the environment. Yeah, that does need to be talked about. But what you're doing is not the solution either. There is a middle ground here. You are allowed to be the middle ground. You are allowed to keep existing and doing things that make you happy and comfortable. And also, like, not everything you spend money on is physical. Like, not everything you spend money on is something that you obtain and like keep in your house. I spent a lot of money last year because I traveled South America for 3 months. Like, I didn't get any products really out of that. I mean, I got this top. There are obviously a few things that I got from it, but like, most of that money was spent on the actual experience and the traveling. And like, did it leave me with much money in the bank? No, of course not. But I would do it again in a heartbeat. That was the best 3 months of my entire life. Like, that was the best time ever. And like, I could not be more grateful for the fact that I was able to afford to be able to do that. And I couldn't do that if I was just keeping money in my bank. What is that doing for me? You can't take that with you. You know, memories will last you your entire life. Some of the things you have in your house are gonna last you your entire life. You can buy things that bring you joy without being an overconsumer. You can go experience things and not be an overconsumer. You can go out for a nice dinner and it's not a waste of money because you enjoyed that experience. And life is about experiences. He has so many videos where he just like sits down and yells at people and calls them stupid and idiots and says that, you know, you shouldn't be making decisions to treat yourself. You should be making all these decisions to get as much money in the bank as you possibly can.
You thought you were never going to see me again and you could just start being stupid with your money? Wake up! Well, Bradley, I don't care because tomorrow's not guaranteed. I'm just living for today. I just want to treat myself and go out to eat and go shopping. Shut up! You have nothing to show for it. There's nothing in your bank account. You just shopped it away. You just ate it away. Wake up! You know what we call people who do that? Stupid!
Stop handing out your money to other people. That's your money. Hold on to it. Keep it in the bank. You don't want anyone else to touch it. It's not for anyone else. It's for you. And like all of these things he's doing it's so worrying, right? Like I was watching his videos and after just watching a few, I had an inkling. I was like, okay, I think, you know, it seems very clear that he struggles with control and with OCD caused by his past trauma. And he has confirmed that he does have OCD. He says that a few times in some of his content. And I was like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. That is how this is coming across. It is very obsessive compulsive. And I need to really emphasize here that I completely empathize with this. I understand how he got here. I understand like where this came from and like why he is doing the things that he is doing. And it is because of his past trauma, right? It is very clear that he suffers from severe financial trauma in his past. And he now lives this very frugal life out of the fear that it will happen again. You know, he feels like he has to hoard everything and hold on to everything because otherwise, it's all going to go away and he's going to be in exactly the same position that he was before. Intrusive thoughts are very much like, if you make this purchase, it's all going to go away. You have to keep it because if you do this, this is going to happen. And so he has to hoard all of it because he thinks that there's going to be like some sort of domino effect of if he's not careful, even one time, it will all disappear. He is afraid of it leaving because he has been in that position before. And so he needs to have as much control over it as he possibly can. He needs to keep as much of it as he possibly can because even spending a little bit is going to make it all go away. Again, I have to empathize with this and I understand why this is happening. And he's said like multiple times that, you know, living this way means that you have control over your money instead of it having control over you. But I really need to emphasize here that that's not the case. Living like this is you being controlled by money. This is your entire life being controlled by money. If every single decision you make is because of how much money it is going to cost or save you, if you're having to drive to your parents' house just to use their water to wash your car to save you like 10 cents on your water bill, money is controlling you. If you are cooking the same meal every single night because you know exactly how much each portion costs you, money is controlling you. If you are not heating your apartment but leaving your door open to get heating from the hallway, money is controlling you. You don't buy toilet paper. You are doing all of these things because it saves you money. You're living your entire life revolves around how many jobs you can do to earn insignificant amounts of money. You're doing something that you hate to earn an extra $50, even though you already have $250,000 in your bank account. Money is controlling you. It is your entire life. You are not in control here. Your OCD is. Then sure, maybe you're saving up for a house to buy in cash. Sure, okay. But what about after that? What about you have your house? What about when you have your house? And then you have your house and you have enough money in your bank account for your 4 months emergency fund. Then what? Are you going to stop living frugally? Are you going to stop saving all of your money and putting it in the bank? I doubt it. I think that then it's going to be like, well, I'm saving for an early retirement. You know, I'm saving for retirement so I can live comfortably and freely after I retire, and I can retire early so I don't have to keep working. I don't think that's what's going to happen though, is it? Based on where you are right now and how much money is like controlling your entire life, it's going to keep going. It is never going to be enough. $250,000 in your savings. That is the average that is 4 years worth of the average income of an American person. You have 4 years worth of salary just in your savings, and you are saying that you need to keep going. And it literally will never be enough. It's so frustrating and upsetting to see. And he talks about his OCD as though it saved him. Like, the few times he has brought it up, he mentions it as though it like saved his life, and he talks about it as though it was the most helpful thing to happen to him. Giving control into this OCD and like living by what it's telling him to do is helping him, and now he's in like a more financially secure place. Eating the same meal every day is an OCD thing, and that is good because it makes him feel good. Doing all of these things is, as I said, he is being controlled by his OCD, and he doesn't see a problem with that. And it's so upsetting, and also like almost promoting that and being like, it's good to give in to your OCD and your compulsions and live strictly under its order is not a healthy thing to be promoting. Even a little bit. Listening to your OCD or any disorder to the point where you are giving it full control is not making you happy and healthy. It is lying to you because that is what it wants, right? I don't have OCD, but I did have a severe eating disorder, and eating disorders function in a very similar way to OCD, in which they are very, very obsessive compulsive. So I had so many like obsessive compulsions at the time. I very much had that like loud voice and that like need for control. And so I can entirely empathize and understand like I can't put it into words, but I know what he is hearing in his brain, and I know why he is doing the things that he is doing and how it is affecting him. And I can completely empathize with the thought of like, if I splurge this one time, everything is going to come back and bite me in the ass and fall apart. Like, I get it. And it is scary, and you still need to fight that. I am also a content creator, right? So I understand this in a separate level as well. I understand how stressful it is because your income is not guaranteed. It fluctuates. My earnings fluctuate so much all the time. I went through a period of a few months last year where I was genuinely very, very worried. It was very concerning, and I was extremely stressed out. I go through periods of time where things are down and I am very stressed. And so I understand, but like, you have enough in order to get through that period of time, and you need to realize and understand you have enough. You could stop earning money for several years and be totally fine. And you're not going to go into a place where you stop earning money for several years anyway. You will have enough time to find a new job and a new source of income. You have to know that if you keep at this, it will never be enough, right? You're going to keep working until you die. You can say you're saving up for retirement once you buy your house, but you're going to keep working, and you're going to keep working all of these jobs, and you're going to watch that money accumulate and get more and more and more and more. And then you're going to die. And you're going to have had no experiences. You will have missed out on so much of life, but you'll have a full bank account that you can't use anymore. Reflect, and like understand and realize that there is so much more to life than just money. For someone who sits here and tries to act like so anti-consumerism and capitalism, he so very much just like lets it rule his entire life and ends up coming away so capitalistic in how he speaks about money. Because if your entire goal is to just accumulate more and more and more, you are a huge capitalist. Like, therapy is so needed here. Like, this man needs therapy so bad. But I fear right now, like, if he went into therapy again, because he used to be, he either would not bring this up because he either doesn't think it's an issue and is happy with the way it's going, or he knows that it's an issue and he knows if he brought it up, he would have to tackle it and start doing exposure tasks and stuff. And he doesn't want to admit that because it's easier to give into OCD and, these like consuming thoughts and such than it is to take control back over your own life. OCD is security. It feels safe. It's so hard to fight against those things. So it's easier to just sit in it and do as it says, even if it is like tearing you apart and making you miserable. It's so sad, and I feel so sad for him, but it's also so frustrating because he is projecting this to over 1 million people. There are so many people who are watching his content and who are actually struggling financially and like, you know, taking on some of this advice and information and therefore putting themselves in dangerous situations. And also he's encouraging them to like sacrifice so much of their life and their joy and their time in order to just accumulate wealth, and encouraging this idea of like hoarding money, which we should absolutely not be encouraging to anyone. Bradley, your OCD is not your savior. To anyone, your OCD or like any sort of mental illness that you have that is like consuming you, it's not your savior. It is not going to improve your life. It lies to you and tells you that it is going to improve your life, but that is not at all what is happening. And you can sit here and tell me that you are perfectly happy and content, but I have eyes. And he loves to sit here and be like, people love coming in and inserting themselves when they don't know the full story. It's like, okay, sure, I don't know the full story, but I feel like I've gathered enough based on all of the information you have put on the internet, based on my own experiences. I know how OCD works. And I can see what you're doing and what you're saying. I feel like I'm pretty well informed here. I don't know your story entirely, but I understand where you're coming from. If you are living like this, you are trapped in your own mind. You know, you could say you have financial freedom and that you're living your best life, making your own decisions. You're not. You're lying to yourself and you are lying to everyone else. And you are encouraging other people to make decisions in which they are trapped in their own minds too, and living so heavily under the thumb of capitalism when they don't need to be. Money is important and it is good to budget and to be smart with your money, but it is not worth sacrificing everything for. I hope that Bradley gets help and goes and realizes that this is not healthy, and he receives the help that he needs, and that he allows himself to start enjoying simple things, like even small things. I hope that he allows himself to just be more free and have more free time and pick up some hobbies and do literally anything else. We all deserve to do things that make us happy. I'm sorry if you're in a financial position where that is so much harder. Capitalism fucking sucks. It's so shit, and I am so sorry for the situation in which we are living presently. The world is fucked. Capitalism is fucked. The economy is fucked. It's all fucked. Have savings, but don't hoard wealth. I think that that's really a takeaway here. A massive thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons: Stella, Trippy Day 27, Bay the Trucker, Chastity, Beckett, Prismatic PT, LJ James D, MA Ping the Games, Blaze, Uh-Oh It's Craiglow, Phil the Duck, Jessie A, River, Queen Glimmer, Ella, Lady Nutbar, Mr. Noodle, Radsack, Knitting Menace, Samuel, Chris, Ellie, Alexis, and Bobby. I love and appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah. When you close your eyes.